The invisible throne power begins before you speak. They respect you long before you open your mouth. But if they don't, you've already lost. Asterisk power doesn't begin with words. It begins with presence. Imagine walking into a room. No flashy clothes, no loud voice. Yet, all eyes turn, not out of admiration, but tension, respect, curiosity. That is aura. Not everyone has it. Most never will, because they chase attention. But those who rule attract silence. And silence is where power grows. Asterisk, rhetorical shift. Why does the quiet man in the corner hold more influence than the loudest one at the center? Because true power doesn't beg, it radiates. In Machiavellian psychology, aura is a psychological weapon. It's the ability to control perception without saying a word. People are wired to scan for dominance, not just physical, but psychological dominance. They look for posture, gaze, stillness, energy. The Machiavellian understands this and manipulates it. He never overshares. He doesn't explain himself. He allows others to guess, to project, and this uncertainty makes him unforgettable. Historical microstory. Niccolò Machiavelli once observed that a leader must be feared more than loved if he cannot be both. But fear doesn't mean aggression. It means predictable unpredictability, like Vlad the Impaler, who rarely spoke, but whose silence terrified kingdoms, or Bismarck, who once said nothing for 3 meetings in a row, yet walked out with everything he wanted. Aura is about tension, and tension creates gravity. Psychological insight. Mirror neurons. When someone sees you acting composed, calm, and unfazed, their brain mirrors it. They begin to believe you're in control, even if you say nothing. This is why charismatic silence is more powerful than endless speech. But here's the trap. Most men speak too soon. They want to be understood, but the powerful, they want to be unpredictable. Mystery is leverage. The less you reveal, the more they imagine. And their imagination will always paint you more powerful than reality. Actionable mindset shift. Stop trying to prove yourself. Instead, build tension. Speak when silence has done most of the work. Enter a room slowly. Let your eyes study. Don't fidget. Don't over-explain. Learn to occupy space without apologizing for it. That is how you build presence. That is how kings move. Asterisk. You can't dominate the world if you haven't conquered your own mind. Before you ever lose to another man, you lose to yourself. Every time you hesitate, every time you crave validation, every time you scroll, doubt, or delay, power is not taken, it is earned by defeating the coward inside you. Contrast, framing. Society teaches you to love yourself, but the truth is, if you don't discipline yourself first, you're loving the weakest version of you. Inside every man are 2 forces: the decaying self, needy, soft, full of fear, excuses, and addiction; the ruthless self, clear, focused, silent, and dangerous. Most never meet the second. Why? Because it requires pain, discomfort, rejection, isolation. But that's the price of inner dominance. The world respects those who've bled in silence, because pain shapes presence. It kills the noise. It kills the little boy inside, who still wants to be liked. Psychological insight. Cognitive dissonance. When your actions don't match your self-image, your brain suffers a split. You say, I'm disciplined, but you binge. You say, I'm powerful, but you avoid hard conversations. This mental split drains energy. It makes your aura inconsistent. People feel it, even if they can't explain it. To build a true aura of power, your actions must become brutally aligned with your self-image. No softness, no self-delusion, only radical alignment. Historical microstory. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." He lived in isolation, mocked by scholars, crushed by illness, yet his mind unbreakable. Why? Because he had killed the part of him that needed applause. In that silence, his will to power was born. Actionable mindset shift. Audit your mind. What thoughts keep you soft? Attack weakness daily, deliberately. Cold showers, solitude, rejection. Choose them, not to suffer, but to sharpen. Speak less, think deeper, move with intent. This war inside you will not end, but the man who learns to enjoy it. becomes untouchable. Have you ever walked into a room and everyone shifted their energy without you saying a word? That's not luck. That's not charisma. That's psychological warfare mastered. Powerful men don't chase influence. They design it. Asterisk. Contrast framing. World says, be authentic. Be yourself. But the Machiavellian says, be whoever gets the job done. Most people rely on words, but the wise use presence, an energy that speaks before you do. Psychological principle. Mirror neurons. The human brain mimics energy. Subconsciously, we reflect what we see. This is how dominance spreads. If you walk with stillness, people become still. If you speak slowly, they lean in. If you remain unshaken, they feel unstable. You're not speaking, but you're influencing. Historical microstory. Nikola Tesla barely spoke in public, but his presence disturbed the arrogant. He didn't care to be understood. He only cared to create. While Edison chased fame, Tesla sat in shadows, designing the future in silence. His power wasn't in words. It was in focus, in mystery. He refused to explain the Machiavellian technique. Cold magnetism is a silent form of seduction. You're emotionally distant, but intellectually intense. You don't react. You observe. This makes people question themselves. It puts them off balance and into your control. When people can't predict you, they fear you. And fear, properly managed, is the root of respect. Actionable shift. Lower your emotional visibility. Practice saying less, especially when others expect you to speak. Train your eyes to observe before reacting. Let silence become your first response. Don't argue. Don't convince. Control the frame, not the words. What if I told you most of what you believe isn't yours? Your fears, your limits, your personality, all borrowed, all implanted. You were not raised to be powerful. You were conditioned to obey. Asterisk. Contrast framing. Society says, be a good boy, fit in, follow the rules, but power demands the opposite question. Everything break what doesn't serve you. You are not a fixed identity. You are a program, and programs can be rewritten. Asterisk. Psychological insight. Asterisk. Cognitive dissonance. When you hear a truth that contradicts your beliefs, your mind doesn't want clarity. It wants comfort. That discomfort you feel when you're challenged, that's not pain, it's growth. Trying to break through. Men who escape mediocrity lean into this discomfort. They welcome contradiction because that's how reality reshapes. Historical microstory. Friedrich Nietzsche saw through the illusion. He questioned morality, religion, even truth itself, while others clung to God. He declared, God is dead. He wasn't arrogant. He was awake. Society called him mad, but what they feared was a man unshackled from the hurt. The Machiavellian frame. Belief as weapon. He who controls beliefs controls behavior, and the most powerful man, the one who controls his own. You were taught weakness, to fear failure, taught to crave approval. But all these can be unlearned. Actionable shift. Identify one belief about yourself that weakens you. Ask, who gave me this belief? Then destroy it. Replace it with one that fuels power. Example, I'm not confident gives I am learning to become unshakable. I need approval gives I move in silence. Power doesn't explain itself. Start with language. Words shape belief. Belief shapes destiny. Have you ever felt someone walk into a room and without saying a word, very in turn to look? That's not luck. It's not charisma. It's something deep at its aura. Contrast framing. Society praises extroverts loud, energetic, social, but history bows to those who didn't need to perform. They simply existed firmly. Others seek attention. The powerful draw it in without trying. This isn't mysticism, it's psychology. Posture, presence, and energy management. Psychological insight. Energy field. People subconsciously scan rooms for dominance. Cues. Body, language, eye contact, breathing, rhythm. You build your aura not through noise, but through mastering stillness, control, and intention. Your body becomes a message. I don't chase, I attract. I don't rush, I decide. Historical microstory. Nikola Tesla rarely raised his voice. He moved slowly, calculatedly, and yet, the most powerful men of his time feared his mind. He didn't need theatrics, his stillness and intellect radiated power. That's aura, not something you're born with, something you build. The Machiavellian frame. Be the sun, not the flames flicker, flash, and die. The sun burns steady, and everything revolves around it. Your aura is the silent gravity that draws people in, confidence without arrogance, mystery without effort. It tells people you know something they don't. That's power. Actionable. Shift. Build aura through ritual posture. Always stand tall, neck straight, feet grounded. Slouched bodies radiate weakness. Eye contact. Lock eyes, but never stare. Be still, unmoved. Breathe slowly. Deep, calm breaths equals calm. Nervous system equals magnetic presence. Slow movements. Fast equals nervous. Slow equals dominant. Dress with intentional minimalism. Dark, clean, fitted. Let your silence shine louder than your fashion. What if your deepest insecurities weren't weaknesses, but strategic advantages? What if every pain you've buried, every fear you've faced, was a weapon waiting to be sharpened? Society teaches you to hide your pain, to cover your flaws, present perfection. But those who rise in the shadows know the opposite is true. The powerful don't conceal their scars. They study them, master them, then weaponize them. Psychological insight. Shadow integration. Carl Jung called it the shadow self. The parts of us we repress, deny, or fear. Most men ignore their shadow, but the Machiavellian man uses it. He turns shame into strategy, rejection into fuel, trauma into tools of perception. Why? Because when nothing in you is hidden, nothing can be used against you. Historical microstory. Hypatia of Alexandrian, a world ruled by fear and dogma. Hypatia, a philosopher, scientist, woman, stood unflinching. They tried to humiliate her, demonize her, break her. Instead, she embraced the very thing they hated, her unrelenting intellect, her truth, and in doing so, she gained immortality. Brutal truth. People fear the one who owns himself. When you no longer flinch at your own flaws, no one can weaponize them against you. You become unreadable, unbreakable. People don't know how to manipulate someone who's not playing to be liked. This is where true dominance begins. Actionable. Shift your shadow playbook. Identify your triggers. What makes you defensive? That's your mirror. Write it down. Journal the darkest thoughts. Name them. They lose power. Reframe your story. This happened to me becomes this made me unstoppable. Expose it voluntarily. Mention past failures first. Disarms others. Watch their faces. The moment you own your shadow, their control disappears. Have you ever questioned who is actually in control? Not the loudest, not the front man, but the one behind the curtain. The most powerful don't seek control through force. They guide the dance while remaining invisible. This section is about becoming that man society worships. Alpha behavior. Loud, dominant, visible. But that's just the bait. The true Machiavellian doesn't play the alpha. He plays the room. He makes others believe they are in charge, while he shapes the outcome. People crave control, even a taste of it, and that's your weapon. By giving them the illusion of authority, you earn their loyalty. They defend the decisions they think they made. Psychologists call this ego alignment. You let them own the idea while you designed it, like Inception, but darker. Charles Maurice de Talleyrand, the man who outlived kings, played empires, and survived revolutions. He never led armies, he never ruled, but every ruler in Europe needed him. He whispered in ears. He moved borders with words. He mastered subtle influence. Talleyrand didn't control. He orchestrated. If you're still trying to dominate through force, you haven't evolved, because control invites resistance, but influence flows like poison in wine. Unser irresistible. The puppet master pulls threads, without being seen. The crowd cheers for the puppet, but the hand remains hidden. That is the highest form of power. Ask, don't tell. Guide with questions that lead, never command. Let them win. Give credit. Let them take the spotlight. Let them owe you. Design the frame. Set the environment. Control the context, not the people. Play the fool. Be underestimated. The less they suspect, the freer you move. Build dependence. Become the one they quietly rely on. Then disappear. You don't need the world to know your name. You just need the world to move when you decide. Be water, be whisper, be shadow, but never be forgotten. You're not chasing power. You are power. Dispersed, precise, invisible. Why do the most powerful men vanish before they rise? Because transformation is never public. The path to true control over yourself, others, your environment demands that you withdraw before you dominate. Society glorifies connection, noise, and attention, but noise breeds weakness. You cannot build an empire in the middle of a marketplace. The men who truly rule are invisible first. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's the laboratory of kings taught. Here, your mind clears. Here, your focus sharpens. Here, every voice except your own is silenced. This isn't isolation. It's strategic withdrawal, like a predator stalking in the dark, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Nietzsche walked alone through mountains. He left society, not because he hated it, but because he saw through it. And in that silence, he forged ideas that still shake the world. His solitude wasn't weakness, it was sovereignty. They feared the voice in their head. They need distractions, validation, dopamine. But every minute you sit in silence, you're building what others avoid. Presence, focus, command. It's not fun, it's not easy, but neither is power. Daily solitude ritual. Spend 1 hour alone. No phone, no music, just awareness, observation, training. Go silent in group settings. Study reactions. Influence increases. Cut social dopamine. Stop sharing your goals. Let outcomes speak instead. Speak sparingly. Every word costs energy. Spend wisely. Build inner echo. Reflect until your own thoughts become louder than the world's. You will feel fear. You will feel abandoned. That's the proof you're walking where few dare to tread. But through that silence, you become untouchable. Still, silence alone doesn't win the game. You must rise from that silence and radiate power without ever saying a word. In the final step, we build your aura. Ever entered a room, and without saying a word, all eyes shift to one man? That's not luck. That's not genetics. That's aura forged through fire. This is what you've been building towards. Society teaches you to network, to speak up, to market yourself. But real influence doesn't beg, it commands. A lion doesn't introduce himself. His presence tells the room what he is. You don't need to roar to be feared. You just need to exist with clarity, power, and poise. Psychologists call it nonverbal dominance. It's not about words. It's posture, eye contact, breathing. Presence. Studies show people subconsciously defer to those who appear unshaken. Stillness equals threat. Calm equals control. Your aura is a weapon. Polish it in silence. Wield it in stillness. Musashi, undefeated samurai, master of psychological warfare. Before his duels, he arrived late, unbothered, unreadable. His calmness shattered enemies before blades clashed. He didn't overpower, he outrode them. They flex, talk too much, wear masks, because they fear being unseen. But the truly powerful, they hide in plain sight. Their silence is louder than the world's noise. They are not looking to prove, they are waiting to move. Master your gaze. Look with weight, never dart, never avoid. Own your space. Shoulders square, slow movements, grounded stance, neutral expression. Emotionless face radiates mystery. Let others wonder. Minimal speaking. Speak last, speak deep, speak less. Internal power. Breathe through the belly. Control your energy from within. Aura isn't decoration. It's armor forged from all the darkness you've endured. You've walked the cold path, faced the silence, cut through illusion. Now you emerge, not louder, just undeniable. They'll feel it before they even know your name. If this spoke to your soul, if you're one of the few who see through the world's noise, not alone, there are others like you. Men building in silence, watching, waiting, becoming. Subscribe, not for content, but for alignment, and leave a comment. Let them know you're awake.